Hello everyone, this is one of those serious videos because sometimes I speak lightly and sometimes I become serious depending on the topic and obviously how I want it to be received. And this is one of those most critical and important videos which will have predictions and these things will happen. And this is regarding to your Ketu from the sidereal point and south node from the tropical point. And because you do know I like to mix or melange my methods sometimes, and this is important that today on this video I address both audiences and what will happen to you depending on your perspective of which angle you're looking at this transit of Ketu or the south node. So from the tropical point of view, you are going to use your tropical chart and you are going to look at your Virgo sign, where your Virgo sign will be transiting, right? Because from the tropical point of view, this south node is going to be looked at or perceived to be transiting the Virgo sign, and from the sidereal we are going to look at the Leo sign, because this is where the Ketu will be transiting for this 18 months. And this is very important that we pay attention, because now I'm beyond the point of just speaking lightly, because this is a matter of urgency, really. Let's get into it. You will be looking at your planets that are in the house of Virgo for tropical or sidereal Leo, right? And I will not be specifically mentioning what will happen to each planet, but you will take what I'm telling you and transform it to the meaning of that planet, right? So I'm just going to go briefly to the meanings of the planets and what they represent, and then what I'm going to tell you, it is going to be specific to you and not everyone. It is going to be specific to you. I am beyond the point of just globalizing. Now I'm going to talk to you directly, and this is going to affect your chart individually, so pay attention. First, let me discuss what's happening in terms of how we describe these planets. Sun, when we talk about sun, we're talking about our vibrancy, our life force. We're talking about how we are presenting ourselves in the public, like our status, because sun is king, royalty. We're talking about how we are branded as well, because sun is also the branding, so how we are branded in the society. Now, when we talk about sun, we're also talking about father. This is a relationship that we have with our own father or fatherly figures, or the people that have authority over us. So think about it from this perspective. When we talk about moon, we're talking about the relationship we have with mother and mother herself, motherly figures, and we're talking about our emotional state, how we are, perceiving things in terms of emotions and feelings. We're talking about our mindset. How are we thinking? What is our thought process, looking like? We're talking about that, and we're talking about traveling and all of these things, right? Now, when we're talking about sun, briefly, we're also talking about pride, the pride that we have in our work, in ourselves, and so on and so forth. Now, when we talk about Mars, we're talking about male friends, the people that we are dating, our partners in terms of boyfriends. We're talking about blood circulation in the system. we're talking about, our drive, our passions, and the sex itself in terms of relationships, that passionate, physical interaction. We are talking about aggression as well, but we're also talking about building and about, being assertive and the energy that we have, right? So when we're talking about Mercury, we're talking about communication, we're talking about our sisters, our daughters, we're talking about the youth, the children. You're talking about friendships, like our friends, all of them in total, both genders, female and male. We're talking about commuting from one place to another place, short travels. We're talking about intelligence here. We're talking about our ability to be clever, cunning, and make jokes, have life, live a little. We're talking about flirting when it comes to relationships. Now when we talk about and also learning and skills. Now when we talk about Jupiter, we're talking about long journeys. We are talking about spiritual journeys as well. We're talking about exploring, either within or out, outside, because it represents both the 9th house and the 12th house. So 9th house is about external and 12th house is about internal. So now when we talk about Jupiter, we're also talking about our mentors and the people who give us knowledge, where we reap our information from. We're talking about guidance and the guiding process itself. We are talking about children and the having to be able to have generations within the family. We're talking about spiritual protection, and also it could be luck as well, whereby things just happen and you don't know how to explain them and it's just a miracle. That is Jupiter. When we're talking about Venus, we're talking about the luxuries that we have at the home. We're talking about our lovers, our spouses, the love itself, the union. We're talking about contracts. We're talking about business. We are talking about harmony and beauty and all these nice things. We're also talking about passionate a love, whereby it could also be about vanity. We're talking about like intense manipulation in love. We are talking about looking for pleasures, like things that arouse our senses. That's Venus. When we're talking about certain, we're talking about structure, we're talking about discipline, we're talking about direction, we're talking about long-term things, long-term planning, long-term goals. We're talking about authority figures. We're talking about the people in general, like the community. We're talking about servitude, serving, and services. We are talking about marriage here. We are also talking about having a status that is durable, like a long-term status, whereby people, they respect you for a long time if they respect you, and they disrespect you for a long time if they disrespect you. So when it comes to certain, the status is a long-term thing. We are talking about time itself, how long things will take. If we're talking about years, periods, that is certain. We're talking about work, profession, obviously. We're also talking about being dedicated to something. So we're talking about dedication as well. We are talking about justice, and balance and fairness when it comes to certain. And we are also talking about stubbornness and being fixed in traditions and not being able to waver quickly. Now when we're talking about Rahu, we are talking about illusions and futuristic things. We are talking about magician or magic itself. We're talking about are looking for the bigger thing, the greater thing, the above thing, whereby when you get it, it doesn't feel like you've gotten it. You want more and more and more. We're talking about greed. We are talking about manipulation, either of mind or physical presence. When we are talking about Rahu, we're also talking about exaggeration itself. When we're talking about Ketu, we're talking about and when talking about Rahu, the North Node, we're also looking at a destiny, the destiny, what is there that you will get after you have served your purposes through the Ketu, the South Node. Now when talking about Ketu South Node, we're talking about the past itself. That is, it could be past events, whether good or bad. It could be past events, whether achieved or not achieved. That is all Ketu. And when we're talking about Ketu, this South Node, we are talking about the things that you are yet to get rewarded with, or yet to serve that you never served. The obligations. We're talking about separation. We're talking about distance. We're talking about cutting. We are talking about danger itself, confusion as well. We are also talking about spirituality and law when we're talking about Ketu, the higher laws, whereby things are not known through physical touch or through physical vision, but internal intuition. Ketu is intuition. When we're talking about Neptune, we are also talking about intuition. We're also talking about confusion. We're also talking about the unknown and lies and manipulation. We are talking about deception itself. That is Neptune. We are talking about having fog in whatever you're touching or it touches. We are talking about the covering of reality. Now, when we're talking about Neptune, we're also talking about art and gifts and special gifts that you could have, like gifts that are not usual to the eye. We are talking about the deeper gifts as compared to Venus. When we're talking about Uranus, we are talking about the future. We're talking about the rebellion, whereby things have to be broken down in order for the new ones to take place. We are talking about technology that is highly advanced. We're talking about advancements in the society and our society as a whole. We're talking about the people who will break things in order to change. We're talking to change forms and traditions. We're talking about change itself. We are talking about revolution. When we're talking about Uranus, we're talking about the unknown, the eccentric, the unusual, right? Now, when we're talking about Rahu, we're also talking about the taboo things. Now, when we're talking about Pluto, we're talking about transformation itself. This is the 8th house core lord, because it represents transformation. Now, when you're talking about Pluto, the transformation that it brings through power and the fight of power, or fighting for power. It is never without a battle. There will always be battles before the transformation happens. And when we're talking about Pluto, the transformation in that comes, it always comes for the better, because this is a transformation whereby you are put through hell in order for you to get to heaven. Now, when we're talking about Pluto, we are also talking about the status, because power is also status. When you fight for power, you're fighting for status as well. Now, when we're talking about Pluto, we're also talking about division. That is, there's one side compared to the other side. Talking about Lilith, we are talking about rejection, abandonment, and kidnapping. We are talking about rejecting what you don't want to obey anymore. We are talking about the destruction of laws, whereby people do not obey the law and build new laws. We are talking about abandonment as a whole. Now, when we're talking about Lilith, we're also talking about the controversial things in our society. When we talk about Chiron, finally, we are talking about the healing that comes after the wounding. We are talking about the process of going through pain in order for you to heal. We are talking about a transformation in terms of the physical and the spiritual wounding, or emotions as well. Now, when we're talking about fortune, because this is going to be very important, particularly for the subject of Ketu and South Node transiting in this house. In tropical is going to be in Virgo, and in sidereal is going to be Leo. So when talking about fortune, we are literally talking about the fortune that you have. It could be your money, or it could be the skills, the talents that you have, anything that you value. Your valuables are represented by fortune. So this is very important, because fortune here will be affected highly with this Ketu or South Node, due to it being a separator. Now, finally, I already said finally at Chiron, but finally, when we're talking about vertex, vertex is going to be the point that is going to change your life forever. What you know today once this Ketu or South Node touches your vertex in these points, your life will never be the same again. So when we talk about vertex, we're talking about that changing point in our lives. The change of destiny is what I call it. Now let's get into what is going to happen to you according to your chart. This is going to be very specialized. It's not going to be a general a view of everyone, every Virgo sun, every Virgo moon, every Virgo no. This is going to be extremely individualized to your chart. So it's important that you take your chart out now so that you can look at what I'm saying, because what I'm going to say is going to need you to know the exact chart, what's in your chart. And of course, if you want more details on how to on what is going to happen to you, the predictions that are even more precise to you, I have opened up this option now of whereby I go into zoned in detail into whatever subject or maybe point or sign that you want me to look at, and you can book yourself. Now let's get into the details. With this Ketu or South Node passing through Virgo for tropical and Leo for sidereal, it does not say that everyone will experience loss, will experience distance, or will experience losing everything relating to these signs. It is not everyone that will experience these things the same way. Why? Because obviously your planets are receiving aspects from other planets in your chart, and you also have your own different degrees in your ascendant or the sign itself. So do not fear when somebody says oh my gosh, everybody who's a Virgo is going to experience the worst time. No, because we have different charts. And or everybody who has a Leo sign or planets in Leo, they're going to experience losses and all of these things. No, these will happen in different forms, and some people will feel it even less than other people. There are few people who will experience these things in a bigger and more forceful manner, and some people will not feel it at all. And on top of this, it will not be felt throughout the 18th month period. This is what we also need to remember. So whenever Ketu or South Node comes closer to your planet degrees, this is when you will feel it, right? So be careful not to feel fear, or not to make other people be fearful of these transits, because they happen differently for each and every person, right? I'm going to start with the tropical group, and then I'm going to end with the sidereal group. So the tropical group, you guys, you are going to be looking at your Virgo sign in your chart. This is your Virgo sign that we are looking at. So you could be looking at Sun, Moon, Mars, any sign that, any planet that is sitting here. What I'm going to tell you is going to be obviously affecting that planet. So whatever I described, if for an example I spoke about Mercury, I talked about friends, Mercury representing friends, then what I talk about here is going to affect your friends, or is going to be coming from your friends, or anything that is mercurial, like skill, learning, and all of these things that I pointed out, right? So this is how you're going to read it. Now, when if you are if you have your Virgo sign, and in that Virgo sign you have a planet, any of these planets that I just calculated, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 planets that I calculated for you, any planet that is between 7 or 6, if you want to, 6, let's start at 6 degrees until 10 degrees. I repeat, if you have any planet that is between 7 or 6 degrees to 10 degrees, this is what is going to happen to you. First of all, I must just describe how you usually behave with this planet. And remember, with whichever planet that is there, you are behaving like this regarding the qualities and the descriptions of that planet. And if it's about sun, then your father, your vibrancy, your status, your ego, your pride, all of these things. If it's about moon, mom, everything that you just mentioned, emotions, right? Now, usually there is a strong drive, towards, anything that you do relating to this planet. You're usually independent in this field of whichever planet. If it's Jupiter, it could be your belief systems, and how you believe things. You're usually a leader, in this field. People usually come to you and ask you things relating to this planet and even the people around this planet. And, some of you could be athletic as well. If there is Mars here, particularly if there's Mars here, I see a lot of athleticism, right? If then it is with Saturn, obviously you would have worked so hard towards your athletic career or a hobby, right? So these are the usual things that are highlighted with you regarding any of these planets that I just talked about. Right now, with Ketu and South Node, a South Node for you guys, because tropical, so South Node coming over here, what is going to be expressed is that the South Node is going to teach you to let go of your rebellion, right? So there's usually some rebelliousness that is accompanied by your character because of this planet and in the field or domain of this planet. All right, and some of the people, they usually say you could be lacking reliability, whereby they're not sure if you're going to do what you say you're going to do. And if it's regarding your mother, it could be maybe your mom, or mom thinking you're not able to be reliable, or you thinking that your mom is not reliable, right? There could be nervousness as well that comes up with this South Node, and it could be coming from things that happened in the past, right? And most of the time there could be some erratic behavior that comes because the South Node has Ketu. From my theories is that it also is headless from the Vedic. Therefore, it brings up a lot of erratic behavior. So these things could be increased at this time within this 18 month period. But now be careful, it will not happen throughout the 18th month. So it will happen at a certain stage, and then you will see it, right? So maybe some people could feel like they are lacking trusting you. There's a lack of trust, you trusting other people or other people trusting you, right? So that lack of reliability could cause a distance, because the South Node is all about distancing people from what they are used to, right? Or the issues relating to rebelling, not being reliable could come up from the past, because the South Node is also about the past and they need to be fixed, right? So that is people who have planets from the 6 until 10 degrees in Virgo from the tropical side, right? So now let's move on to the next degrees. So now for the Virgo tropical, guys, Virgo tropical. Now if you have, let's say, around I would say from 5 degrees until 7 degrees, I would say, for you, usually people think that, or they talk, these things about you. They think you're an excellent person in terms of, memory. Like you can remember things that happened a long time ago. This is like your usual self, right? You usually like to protect, what is guarded as tradition. In your family, you're probably the one who's collecting, old books that grandma had and all of these things, trying to keep them alive. You appreciate legacy and all of these things. Now, because of this South Node, there could be a secret that would come up, that will be revealed, because you also have a tendency to be obsessed with keeping secrets or with being secretive. Now, this South Node Ketu will come and separate you from that for a moment. It's not going to be throughout the time, the 18th month, but at one of these things, a secret will be revealed. And of course, the secret that will be revealed, or the things that will happen, will be relating to one of the planets that are in your Virgo sign, or if you have more, all of the themes regarding those planets and the people represented by those planets. Now, there is also, some power move that may be a matter of, loss for you, or whereby you have to learn to let go of a power, some sort of power, that you might have had over something regarding the planet again that you have. And what I do see here is a high potential of betrayal. But then this betrayal is actually going to be protecting you. So there will be a betrayal, happening, but you're going to be protected from it. You know what I mean? It's like, even if somebody is trying to backstab you, there will be this, intuition, if you might use to know that, oh my gosh, okay, this is happening, and then be protected like that, or your ancestors protect you, or an unforeseen force protects you, right? But then you have obviously, this a likelihood of experiencing some betrayal. I do see a lot of manipulation that will be exposed, so either from your side or people around you. So there could be a theme of manipulation, and if you want to see which people, again, look at the planets affected here. Now, when it comes to Virgo, again, tropical, if you have degrees from 11 until 16, I would say, right, from 11 degrees until 16 degrees, basically your natural identifier, like the things that you're known of, and of course, obviously, depending on the planets, right, that are in your Virgo. So obviously, if it's about Jupiter, maybe it's about your belief systems. If it's about Mercury, it's about the way you speak, you communicate, and all of these things, right? So if you have planets in the degrees of 11 until 16 degrees in Virgo tropical, normally you have a high quality or high talent in seeing fine details, like you're just seeing things that other people can't. You have that eye, you are given that gift of being an observer, very observant, and subtly, like nobody will know, but you notice like the smallest, finest details, right? You are the Virgo, right? And you usually have courage under crisis. Like when there's a crisis, you're the backbone of everybody else, because you can withstand any crisis. There's this courage about you that shines. You also have this sharp vision, like when you visualize, you are into it, like you are the best at it, right? I do see that you can do a lot of things under pressure, like pressure doesn't do harm to you. And I do see a lot of people who work as a first aid responder or something like that, you know, emergencies. I do see a lot of people with these degrees. And what now with this Ketu or south node coming, you know, over your planets here, and it will relate obviously to the planets and what the planets represent or the people that it represents. So look at your planets that are here and are in these degrees, because these are the people that will be affected, or you know, you will be experiencing these things with. There will be, you know, there will be this difficulty, you know, it's it's like normally people don't see you for who you are. Like you are the best, you are the sharpest knife, but normally people don't see who you are. And with this south node, there will be something in your skill or in what you can do that will come up, that Ketu will bring up, right, for others to see. So for some people, this could be the best moment to be seen in your job as the specialist, to be respected as the specialist, because usually they are clouded from seeing your, you know, your brightest side. Now Ketu, the south node, will bring up the past things that you've done, the past activities that you've done, the work that you've done, and it's gonna be shown to everyone, right? So, but you would have to be careful not to blindly follow other people at this time, because Ketu, the south node, can be confused. It's a headless planet from the Vedic point of view, and it can make people do, you know, silly mistakes, or you know, do take decisions that don't make sense. So be careful about following identities that are represented by the planets that are in your chart at this time, because they could lead you astray. And you yourself, you could also develop, you know, mimicking identities, like mimicking the people represented by these planets unknowingly, right, or intuitively. So just be wary of that. I do see there's a potential of violence coming up, you know, potential of danger in terms of injuries and stuff like that. So you need to be careful when you're driving. You need to be definitely careful, because Ketu being headless can cause accidents. So you need to be careful about that. And obviously, as I said, you know, with decision making, don't just make any decisions. Think about it, because the impulsive decisions that you make now and the choices that you take under, you know, an impulse could cause tragedy, right? So use your intuition in order to not you know, go through these things, or with the people, or because of the people represented by the planets in your chart. So when you talk about Mars, we're talking about your boyfriend, we're talking about male friends. When you're talking about Mercury, we're talking about friends in general, Jupiter, your mentors, and so on and so forth, right? Now if you have a Virgo planet, tropical, right, and your planets are within the range of 20 to 24 degrees, so this is your message now, right? Usually relating to the planets that are in here. So if it's about Mars, it's about your passion, you know, male friends, and so on and so forth. You are usually known to be elegant in, you know, in terms of how you speak with them, or you know, and how you perceive conversations with them. You know, there's a lot of diplomacy that you use, you know, with these people or through these planets relating to what they represent. And there's a lot of social harmony as well, particularly if Venus is here. Oh my gosh, this is what you know, like the person who brings harmony in social gatherings and social events. You probably, you know, the peacemaker of the group, and usually you are you are very good at public speaking. Like, you know, there's something about you and public speaking that makes people want to listen, and you know, because that's your skill. That's what this Virgo range is doing for you, right? Now you could be good in astrology, you could also be good, you know, in other arts, you know, types of arts and occult and all of these things, right? Now with Ketu South Node coming over your planet here, and it will relate to the planets and the people that it represents and the skills and their descriptions and the characteristics of these planets, right? I do see confusion in love. Remember, Ketu is about confusion as well. So I do see confusion in love. I do see separation from a lover, particularly where Venus is involved. Actually, most of these planets, it's going to be about relationships for you. Not everybody with a Virgo planet, not everybody with a, if you have moon here, it's not going to be everyone with moon in Virgo. It's going to be you in your degrees only. This is how it is individualized, this reading for today in this video. So there will be separations or confusion in love. There would be some disagreements that are coming out of nowhere, and there could also be misjudgment, definitely between you and other people, or you know, people you usually talk to, you people you usually are good with, right? I do see a lot of instability when it comes to your social life, your social standing at this time, and not only in your relationships but just in attachments in general. I do see also some sort of inappropriate activities that could come up. Now remember, it is not going to take place throughout the 18th month period. It is going to take place closer to the degrees of your planets in this range, right? Now finally, for the tropical love lovers, if you have planets placed in the range of 25 to 30 degrees, any planet, what I'm going to say here is relating to those planets and what they represent, their characteristics, and the people that they represent, all right? Normally, you are known as a genius. Just that, right? If you have Jupiter here, you have the most amazing, mind-blowing advices that other people can't see. Like, you are just a genius in whatever role or field represented by the planet here, right? You are known to be good at debates. Virgo, right? You are known to be good at debates. You are known to be good at legal work, and I've seen many lawyers with the planets in these degrees. I've seen highly intellectual people, particularly when there's Mercury here, Jupiter here, my gosh, and where they're certain they excel in such work, right? Clever people, very good at editing, you know, fine at, you know, just making their their point be heard, precise, extremely precise people, right? Excellent expertise, very analytical, good at writing, right? So now, because of Ketu or South Node that is going to come over these planets in this Virgo range, I do see a lot of confusing arguments coming, like whereby you want to, you know, debate debate as usual. You're good at debating, right? That's how you are. But for some reason now your debates, they seem like arguments, and people, they start to argue out of nowhere, and these are confusing arguments. I do see being overly criticized, and you also overly criticizing other people. So because Ketu is a sharp as well, so it does give that sharp a tone. So I do see that coming for you with this transit. I also do see a lot of provocation for, it's like you provoke other people or other people provoke you, but there won't be a reason for it. So it could be something that you do intuitively, like subconsciously, or other people do that to you and you also react in a subconscious manner. And I do see a lot of arrogance that is going to be taken out of you. So if you become arrogant, or there's something that makes you arrogant, or you are arrogant in your life right now, that is going to be taken away from you. There will be a lesson that will make you learn to be humble, right? Because South Node Ketu here will humble you and to take out any arrogance that is there, right? So that is it for the tropical love lovers. Now let's get into the sidereal Leo, right? Now for the sidereal love lovers, Ketu will be transiting in your Leo sign, right? And if you have any of these 16 planets that I have started with in this video, then these are what you're going to experience regarding and relating those planets and the people that they represent, and the characteristics and everything and every domain that they represent, right? So if you have Venus in Leo sidereal, we're talking about everything relating to Venus, right? Even the people that are represented by Venus, so women, spouse, lover, all of these things, as well as luxury, your pleasure, conveniences. So everything relating to the planet that is within this range, right? So I'm going to start, obviously, as I said, 0 to 6 degrees. You have these planets, and normally this is where you shine. This is where you really, really shine in the public, or things that you are known for, and whereby your leadership and your ambition comes forth. You could even be a bit popular, with regarding these themes. Obviously, depending on which planet it is in Leo here. Obviously, if it's your ascendant, then we're talking about you. This is you, right? So what to be expected with the Leo coming through, with Ketu coming through in Leo, is that there could be a some sort of loss of status. Okay, so there could be fall from grace, whereby you were up and now you have to learn to be down for some time. You had the highest position and now you have to learn to deal with losing that position. So it could also be your standard, your standing within the society and how people view you. So you could lose a bit of that. And what is happening here, as I always say, is that when Ketu comes into Leo, it is coming to humble the king. So here you are being humbled. Ketu is going to teach you how to be humble, how to stay in your lane, how to appreciate other people. And there could also be like a forceful loss, or a forceful shame, or being embarrassed if you are attached or obsessed with things such as revenge, such as wanting to make other people feel pain and all of these things, right? Then this is where that destruction of pride can come through, because Ketu is going to say here, hold on. You can't be a king or a queen that makes his own people or her own people suffer. So hold on, right? So he's going to come and humble you if you are having these hurtful vibes to other people or towards other people, right? And this is for ascendants as well. This is what I should have said in the beginning when I was talking about the planets. Also, the ascendants that are in Leo in terms of the sidereal, or in Virgo in terms of the tropical, they will be affected, obviously, right? Now, with the ascendant, it means that it's going to be you your whole life. So it could be affecting your body, your outer appearance, your personality, right? So now let's go back into the sidereal Leo, and if you have planets or your ascendant is from 10 degrees until 15 degrees, then normally people see you as a respectable person. Basically, this is how you are usually seen. You are normally perceived, right, as this warm-hearted individual who has strong affection towards others and towards yourself and your passions. And you could be very artistic as well, that's for sure. I've seen this one. And usually there's this powerful aura about you or around you, right? When you are in the presence of other people, it's like you are upper, right? You are upper than the other people. And I do see normally people would assume that you are strong, you're a strong individual, very affectionate individual, and somebody who's just worth it to be respected, noble person, right? So now with Ketu coming through here, whoa, there could be some drama, whereby small things become huge, and within that huge scale, they also cut into tiny pieces, whereby this, like a huge story, is going to be revealed in stages, like rolling out in tiny pieces, right? So I do see this over dramatical thing. And I did say, obviously, things are not going to be the same throughout the 18th month period. You're going to see it mostly when it's affecting or is closely conjunct with the planets here or your ascendants regarding this, right? I also do see that there could be a loss of ego at this time, because the Ketu here could assume you as somebody who has an inflated ego, whereby, or other people can see you like this at this point, whereby this side of you comes out, and then because it comes out, Ketu says, okay, hold on, I have to make you humble, I have to make you learn humility, and therefore your ego gets crushed, or something, an activity makes your ego gets crushed at this time, or anything relating to the planet, depending on the planet itself, or the people that it represents in that planet, all of these things, right? I do see a lot of jealousy that would be experienced, like you would experience a lot of jealousy in your relationships, or your partner experiences that, and it would be without a reason, like it would be just coming out of nowhere, or you feel this jealousy, or he feels it, or she feels it, and there's no reason for it. There is nothing that is pushing for this jealousy to come. but it's going to come out like that because remember, Ketu doesn't have the head, to see. But it's all about intuition. So somebody could be feeling like there's some cheatation or stuff like this, and then this jealousy comes out of nowhere, and it will be like a rage and jealousy as well. I do see that there could be also starvation of recognition, whereby you work and you work and you work hard to be recognized for your work, to be recognized for what you do, and then because Ketu is all about humility in Leo, humbling the king, and then you don't get that recognition right now, right? Particularly around the time where Ketu is approaching this planet or approaching your ascendant, if it's an ascendant, and then thereafter you keep trying, right? Because you have to keep trying, and then eventually it would come. But then you would feel like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm working so hard to be recognized, maybe by my boss, by people, by whoever, by my wife, husband, whoever, but I don't find it because Ketu is taking it away from you, is separating you from being recognized for the things that you do, right? So I also do see that at this point you could also be cut off from things that give you sensory pleasures, such as things that you would normally indulge in, right? So it could be anything, right? It could be anything that you indulge in depending on the planet. So when we're talking about moon, that's traveling, those are that's also money, cash, so there could be some cut off from those things at this time when Ketu is around these degrees. So be careful of that, and just accept the humility and then learn from it, and you keep pushing, and obviously eventually things will be back to normal again. So if you have any planet or your ascendant is around 18 degrees to 22 degrees in Leo sidereal, then for you, normally or usually people when they see you or when they talk about you, they talk about, oh my gosh, this person is an empath. They see you as an empathic person, somebody who wants to serve others, somebody who has a heart, like a huge heart to give to other people, to be there for other people, somebody who sees other people suffering and wants to make things better for those who suffer, right? So because of this, you yourself, you usually fall into being used and misused, and just feeling like you give too much to other people, and that to the point that you don't have enough yourself, right? So with Ketu coming here, Ketu will be cutting you off from that now. Ketu will be saying, okay, you've been sacrificing too much for other people, and now for some reason you can't do that anymore, or maybe you don't have the resources, you don't have the time, or you don't have the access. Now Ketu is going to say, look within now. You're right. So you cannot continue to destroy yourself for other people. So being separated from that, or you could also be separated from feeling like a victim, whereby you get to it, like making sure that you face yourself and realize that the things that you're experiencing are actually by your own doing, because you give too much, you do too much for others, that you have nothing left for yourself, right? So there could be a lot of sensitivity obviously with this transit regarding to you, and so be careful of like things like depression at this time, or thinking negatively, like negative thoughts and all of these things, because Ketu here could bring up these things, particularly if there's a moon involved, or if there's a Chiron involved. So just be careful about these things, right? And obviously watch out for emotions, because emotions will be going up and down, feeling a bit unusual, and yeah. And now, if you have planets or your ascendant within the range of 23 degrees to 26 degrees, for you, normally people, they know you as a confident person, oh my gosh, like just a brave individual, somebody who's not afraid to do what they want, somebody who's not afraid to achieve their goals, to chase their goals, to protect their own stance or the stance of the people that they love. You are known as that confident, fierce individual, the lion itself. Your braveness is known, right? And because now you are known as this brave person, confident person, obviously in the domains, depending on the planets themselves and the characteristics, they could also be, now with Ketu coming in, aggression that comes out or that gets exposed, whereby that confidence and that assertiveness is now exposed as aggression, or things they push you to be aggressive a bit, right? So just be careful of that. And even the work that you put in, it could be misdirected at this time, because remember, Ketu is all about confusion as well. So there could be misdirection of efforts and courage, whereby you are putting too much work but towards the wrong things, towards the wrong ideas, building towards the wrong foundation, so be careful about that. And of course there could be some recklessness, because as I said, Ketu, it does not have the head to see. It's moving using intuition. So if your intuition is not strong at this time, then you could do things in a reckless manner, and experience obviously a reckless result as well. Now, all of these actions, you would be obviously trying to conquer something, trying to conquer an achievement or someone, right? Or being honored, right? So rely too much on your intuition at this time, not too much on your own braveness or your own courage or confidence, because then this is where the misdirection of all of that can happen, and you build towards the wrong side of the house that you're trying to build, right? And now finally, for the sidereal Leo, if you have planets or your ascendant within the 27 degrees until 30-degree range, for you, and of course depending on the planets, right, and so the people that are represented by those planets will be affected in your life, and the characteristics and domains and everything related to those planets will be affected, right? And now, normally, when people talk about you, they talk about, oh my gosh, this person is doing their own thing. Like, you are just, that person with this Leo who will just do their own arts, their own creativity that is unique from everybody else. If you have an idea, it's totally unique from everybody else. Like, you are eccentric, you are your own person doing your own thing. You don't conform to the normalcy of people and what they do. You are just independent people, an independent person, right? This is how like your lioness or your lion shows through the independence that you have, and of course in the domain represented by the planet that you are facing or looking at in your chart, right? So now with Ketu coming in here in this transit, there could be a sudden reversal of fortune, whereby what you've built, all of a sudden you lose it, because remember, Ketu is about separation. So whatever maybe you have kept, it could be skill, it could be knowledge, it could be money, it could be wealth, anything that is valuable and seemed and deemed as fortune, it could be lost suddenly. Okay, so you just need to be careful about that, or mindful about that. Like, make sure that you do the remedies of Ketu, particularly you do all the remedies to make sure you safeguard what you have. And there could also be some sort of moving up and down, or being unstable. So if it's not a physical movement, it could also be an emotional, if it's moon, your status, if it's sun, depending on the planet, obviously. So there could be some sort of this instability, whereby you lose, you get, you lose, you get, you lose, you get, and all of these things, right? Or you move out, you move in, you move out, you move in, depending on the planet that we're talking about. I do see though that there could be a need to rebel as well at this time, because particularly if you are you're following your intuition and wanting to follow what you feel, what you got, then this one could be good, because it will be Ketu telling you the right thing if you're following your intuition and you rebel against what is not working out for you. So let yourself do, let yourself go, let yourself experience that, so that you can get to the change that is actually needed in your life. But be careful that the rebellion that you do, it is not without a cause. So whatever you do during this 18 month, and of course it's not going to be throughout, for you it's probably going to be when Ketu is ready to get out of Leo. So at this time, make sure that everything you do, it has a purpose. Everything you touch, it has a purpose. Because if it is without a purpose and you rebel and you challenge authority, you challenge other people, you challenge your spouse, challenge relationships for no reason, then this is whereby you could experience all of these things, whereby your fortune is reversed. The things that you have and you own and you love, you could lose them. So yeah, just be careful. Everything has a purpose and a good intention, because remember, we are all asked to have a good intention. So just make sure for you particularly that everything you do has a good intention for this period, so that you can safeguard what you have, and then obviously can be able to build more and more and more and more. Right? So ladies and gentlemen, do contact me to go into deeper detail and to understand this transit from your own chart, from your own perspective, on my website. I'll chat to you soon. I'll be into it. Ciao.